Okay, so let's just say you want the Galaxy Tab S7 Plus, but you don't really want to pay that kind of money. So then you look at the Tab S7 FE, and yeah, it looks pretty similar. But then you see the regular Tab S7, which is slightly more expensive. So which should you choose? Let's start comparing these two and find out. Now the cost of the Tab S7 FE is going to start at $529 for the Wi-Fi version, and then you can get the regular Tab S7 for around $650, and that's going to be for the Wi-Fi version. But it's been on sale several times where it dips down to around $550. Storage-wise, it's going to start out at 64 gigabytes on the FE model, and then 128 gigabytes on the regular Tab S7. That goes up to 256 gigabytes on the FE and 512 gigabytes on the regular Tab S7. Good thing is both tablets take a micro SD card up to 1 terabyte. Now when it comes to the screens on these two tablets, both look actually really good. You'll notice the regular Tab S7 is a little bit brighter and then the FE version. And then obviously the FE version is larger at 12.4 inch versus 11 inch on the regular Tab S7. Both tablets have 2560 by 1600 resolution. So it's really going to depend on if you need that extra real estate. You also get 120 Hz on the regular Tab S7. So the real question here is, do you need a tablet bigger than 11 inches? Then yeah, you definitely want to take a look at the FE version. Otherwise, the regular Tab S7 is probably going to be a little bit better for you. Now when it comes to battery life, this is where it gets a little interesting. You've only got an 8,000 milliamp hour battery on the regular Tab S7. Then you get a really big 10,090 milliamp hour battery on the Tab S7 FE. However, during my battery drain test, I only got 6 hours on the FE and 7.5 hours on the regular Tab S7. So we're talking an hour and a half longer for the smaller Tab S7. Good thing is you've got fast charging on both tablets. Performance wise is going to be sort of obvious on this one. You are going to get better performance on the more expensive regular Tab S7, and depending on which version you get, you only get 4 gigabytes on the cheapest FE model versus 6 gigabytes on the cheapest regular Tab S7. So yeah, if you want the tablet with better performance, it's obviously going to be the smaller Tab S7, but in my testing, I feel like the FE model has pretty good performance, so I would be fine with either. Now gaming is also going to be somewhat similar to performance, but you get HD graphics and high frame rates whether you're on the smaller Tab S7 or the bigger S7 FE. And to me, the graphics and gameplay was nice and smooth on both. So sure, for some of the more intense games, you're probably going to want the smaller Tab S7. And I have to admit, it is easier to play with the smaller Tab S7, depending on what kind of game you're playing. But for me, I actually like gaming on both. And again, I think it's going to come down to personal preference. If you're okay with a larger screen and you're going to use a controller to play most games, then the S7 FE is going to be fine. Now the speakers on these two tablets, you get 2 AKG stereo speakers on the FE model, and then you get 4 AKG stereo speakers on the regular Tab S7. Both have Dolby Atmos, and both have done a really good job at speaker placement, but when you do compare them, it is obvious the regular Tab S7 is a little bit louder and does sound a little bit better. It has better bass, better overall sound. It's not a huge difference, but just enough that you notice. Now in my testing, when you compare the cameras on these two tablets, it's not really a huge difference. Well, other than you do get 4K resolution on the rear camera for the regular Tab S7, and you do get a wide angle lens. Quality on both tablets are just okay. I still feel like you could get better video and picture quality from like a mid-range cell phone, especially if you're going to be doing Zoom calls or any kind of video conferencing. Now, when it comes to software on these two tablets, they're going to be very similar. Like when you swipe to the left of the home screen, you get either the Google News feed on the FE version, or you get Samsung Free on the regular Tab S7. Nice thing is both of these actually have DeX. Overall, you're going to get a very similar software experience, regardless of which tablet you choose, and you're going to be able to connect these to an external display when using DeX for both tablets. Now, there are a lot of similarities between these two tablets, but the regular Tab S7 does have a fingerprint scanner right on the power button, which can come in handy at times where the FE model does not. The bigger Galaxy Tab S7 FE is going to weigh a little bit more as well, but that is to be expected for such a large tablet. You also get a Bluetooth enabled S Pen on the regular Tab S7, but to be honest, I tested both of these and I don't really notice much of a difference. There may be some instances where you get more features with the Bluetooth enabled one, but for what I would be using it for, I don't really feel like it's a big enough difference for me to say, oh, you definitely want this S Pen over the other. I mean, they're both really good and you can't get much better than this when it comes to Android tablets. So hopefully this video gave you a little bit closer look at these two tablets. If you're trying to decide between these two, they do have a lot in common, but there are a few things that may make you lean one way or the other. I really think it's going to come down to how you're going to use this tablet. For me, I know which one I would choose because I like big tablets and I cannot lie. So if you've made it this far into the video, you may want to say thanks by subscribing, and don't forget to give a thumbs up if this video was helpful. This is Brian from FishBee Productions. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you on the next one.